welcome to the Launch and Prosper podcast. We've got a new name. It's officially called Launch and Prosper now, and it's our second episode. And the topic that's been on our minds recently has been this notion of economic winter. Last week, we did the Tony Robbins Business Mastery Seminar, and there's so many gems that came from that. But Tony likes to use the metaphor of seasons to talk about different economic cycles in business. He talks about, springs when you plant, summers when you protect, winter, or falls is when you harvest, and winter is when you got to really tough it out to get through. And if you've done the work sort of ahead of time, then winter you can sort of survive it more abundantly or not. And in past versions of this seminar, winter is coming has been sort of the metaphor, and winter is my season. We do this big war chant thing. But we're in it right now. Tony said specifically that we're probably 2/3 of the way through this cycle of winter, which to me has been going on for at least a year. So I think that we have at least another 6 months of it being harder, of pressure to create diamonds. So that's what we want to talk about today. I'm James Curran. This is my wife and business partner and co-host, Alma Curran. And we just want to start the conversation about economic winter. What are we seeing? How are we responding? What are we hearing from our clients and colleagues and peers? And just bring this up and talk about it and talk about ways that we can survive and thrive in this winter. So with that said, Alma?
Yeah, so again, like James said, welcome to the Launch and Prosper podcast. And this is really where we help you build a recurring revenue machine so that you too can prosper in the winter. And having been listening and really absorbing, not just listening, but absorbing the words of Tony Robbins when it comes to this, especially since we stepped into entrepreneurship, it was really easy for me to listen to him as an employee when I was working with him, but then absorbing it as an entrepreneur myself and really injecting his wisdom and teachings into our business. That has been a completely different experience. So now, being in winter and knowing that this season, in our case, most of our income has come from high ticket service, and knowing that every day James would go on these sales calls, and very often the objection is that's too expensive, that service is too expensive, or people don't necessarily see the value in funnels, but for the most part it's like, oh, I don't have that kind of money. And that has been a big pushback that we have received, and on a consistent basis, just having to go into it and having these conversations, and obviously serving the people who are able to afford our high ticket prices, which we're immensely grateful for. And we get to show off our talents and our expertise. But then there's that group that just can't imagine paying thousands of dollars for a service, for any service.
Right.
And in creating a service that actually serves that demographic has helped us understand that not only is there a need for what we do without the high ticket price tag, but also seeing that there are people out there who are eager to learn, who want to serve their clients, and they want to learn from us. They're not afraid to roll up the sleeves and learn from us so that they can serve their clients. And that is what we're really talking about right now, that recurring revenue, which has helped us sustain our business in the face of objections. So that's really the main topic here. How do we help you, or how do we lead the way for you to create recurring revenue so you don't have to solely depend on high ticket service?
Yeah, and it's really important. I had a like kind of like a voice message from a partner that we have, a former client who we're still in relationship with, and she was saying like, hey James, have you what's it been like? What have you been hearing out there? Because it seems like for us, like people just aren't spending. She and her sister have a women's health focused business. They have a really thriving Facebook group of 15 to 20,000 members. They're getting leads in no problem, but the actual conversion into sales is like trickled down to almost nothing. She was like, "What? Like this is a real problem." And what I find interesting about that is they used to have a membership. They used to put their service into a monthly package, and then they switched to this like just buy the whole thing at once for life service where you get to get some sort of coaching, you get the whole archive, and I don't know what the motivations were for that, but I assumed it was like, okay, well, instead of getting a bunch of small ticket numbers, you know, consistently, let's get some more revenue. So maybe they were thinking about growing or scaling or something. And I think that worked in the short term. But having seen what the linchpin oriented recurring revenue did for us in the past few months, where everyone was more focused on family and togetherness and you know, service to others in their local communities. They weren't thinking about business nearly as much over the past month and a half, 2 months. Um, the service that we continue to provide to um, to our linchpin customers has yielded, you know, a stable, continuous, reliable, dependable stream of income during these past few months. So it's like it just validates everything that we're about. Obviously, we're associated with linchpin funnels, so we believe in the linchpin system. We believe in the idea of membership and continuity, and that it's not free. You don't just get that money for free every month. You have to serve every month. We go live in our groups. We have multiple groups where we go live and we serve and we're asking questions and we're just, you know, I'm constantly reaching out in DMs and emails. Like I just want to help people through this process, regardless of the economic season. But it really validates the idea that as this happens, as ups and downs happen, the ability to maintain that constant stream of income, more or less, because people come and go, even in your membership, but the ability to have that, to know you're not starting at zero every month, has been a game changer for us. We believe in the power of it. We want more people to experience that. We have a mission with the company to get every funnel hacker to linchpin. Obviously, that serves us, but it really serves everyone because it's like when you have that basis of like, you know, even if it's just like some of your bills are covered every month, some of your bills are covered every month too, you know, without having to go get new customers. And it doesn't mean you don't stop that. You keep going for that, but it's really validating everything that we're doing. It's validating the decisions that we made. After even having this conversation right now, I'm realizing that we have an opportunity to serve our level one clients even more and to really push that out to people. Because I think if people can't afford for the whole thing, you know, like, well, if you're willing to roll up your sleeves and do it yourself, we have a great amount of value for a pretty low price. So I think
Yeah.
that'll help a lot of people.
And would you say that during these economic times, during the winter season, when those who are prepared, they're skiing, right, and those
Yeah.
who are not prepared, they are struggling. And sometimes it only takes one winter and if you survive it, you say, I'm never gonna have a
Never
winter like
again.
that again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's no shame in struggling, because you do get an opportunity. If you survive, you have an opportunity to do better the following winter, to prepare yourself, because winter is always coming. Winter
Always.
always happens,
Yeah.
unless you live in Florida. You kind of just goes by and you're like, what happened? I don't know. But
62 is winter down there.
exactly. It's like it wasn't that bad. but uh, but generally speaking, winter is always coming. And would you say that the best way to ski through winter is to create this monthly recurring revenue?
Yeah, you know what's funny to me is like, obviously I'm biased and I agree with what you just said, but I think in addition to that, um, there's a spiritual component. You know, Tony talks about business being a spiritual game. A lot of people do. He sort of takes like the best of all the people and puts them into a single package, which we appreciate. But yes, you know, if you haven't started that yet, though, it's hard to grab customers in winter.
Hmm.
So having done the preparation, having bought your ski gear, bought the season passes, maybe at a discounted early bird price or something, having done all the prep so that you can ski in the winter is the best, right? Like
Sure.
the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is now. So like I totally get that. But I think if you happen to be caught up in the winter and it's cold and you don't have the materials that you need to thrive, what's really required is a spirit, uh, because what you focus on, you get more of, in a spirit of positivity, of abundance, despite the challenges. Because as you always say, like what's wrong is always available, but what's going right is always available too. And you could find something that's going right now. And it is that sort of shift of perspective and the finding of the positive, in every situation that sort of ensures you can ski in the I guess you can ski in the winter even if you have some homemade skis.
Yeah, you can sled. You
Yeah,
can make a you can take a garbage bag and go down the hill, right?
yeah.
You can do whatever it takes, and if you are not in the position to invest in yourself, to go out there and get mentorship or get the training, what would you say is the second best thing?
Well, if you don't have the mentorship or training, but there's so many free resources. There's really no excuse to not have. If you're resourceful enough, you can piece it together. Even from the stuff that we give on a daily basis, we give all of our best tips in little bite-sized chunks in our free content.
Hmm.
So you could do that. You can buy the linchpin book for whatever it is, $12, $15, get that to your house and act based on that. If you have a ClickFunnels account, in a linchpin book, you have everything you need, truly.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but yeah, I think that just being resourceful is a really good thing. Having the positive spiritual connection, regardless of any sort of like formal spiritual practice, but just having that sort of like high level of like, yes, I am going to get through this. I know I am, is good. And another one, tying it back to Tony, is um, he was saying that in economic winter, the way to thrive is to focus on service. It is to give more to your clients or your prospects than anyone else. And we've taken that to heart and put that into place. Like the first night that we heard that, we already created a group for our high ticket, our current and former high ticket clients, called the Winner Circle, where it's like we're just going to go live in there, give love. Basically, you have lifetime support for your funnel with us. It's a community of like a non-sales community where it's like we're just gonna give love in this thing. So giving more value, having high frequency, and yeah, sled down the hill in a garbage bag if you have to.
yeah, yeah. And it's a with that, really having that certainty to to be the best in what you do for your ideal clients. That has been a big breakthrough for me because I used to have this thing where I adore Tony Robbins. James and I both um, think of, especially because James's parents were very young when they had him. So, and he's kind of their age. So it is possible for Tony to be our dad.
Yeah, we
Age
call him
what
dad, kind of
so
affectionately.
we
Yeah,
affectionately would say, what would dad say in this case? So
yeah,
it's kind of silly, but we love it. It makes sense for us. And really, again, having worked with Tony, and it was natural for me to kind of um, channel him, but now to my clients. But now, as I am on the receiving end, I would, anytime I hear the word certainty, I have to step into that certainty and
mm,
say, you know what, I, I can't compare myself to Tony Robbins. I can't compare myself to Russell Brunson. I can't compare myself to Dan Sullivan or Elon Musk or Alex Ramosi. I can't. They're on a different point of the path
yeah,
that we're all
yeah,
walking on. But I can see myself being the absolute best coach for my ideal client and showing up and having that faith that I am the best in what I do
Okay.
for my ideal client, and he is the best for what he does for his ideal client, and you are the best at what you do for your ideal client. Because when you really own that, when you have that absolute certainty that you are the best at what you do for your ideal client, you want to serve. You're not worried about does this podcast sound perfect? Because honestly, we just sat here and we said, let's record a podcast. We don't have a script. We don't know where
Yeah.
the next sentence is going. We had no idea of how we're going to end this podcast. But we believe that we are the best for our ideal client. And we have faith that we're going to get there and we're going to add value and that you're going to take some of this value and you're going to run with it. And when you have that certainty, you just do. You just show up. You don't have to be prepared. You don't need another book. You don't need another course. You don't need another membership. You just show up. And if you consistently show up this winter, you're going to get to the bottom of the hill and you're going to love it. And you're going to say, I'm ready to get back up there. And that's what the purpose of this particular episode is to help you build up that certainty within you so that even though your entrepreneurship journey may not be where you wanted it to be, even though you may believe that you missed some sort of mark, or you didn't take enough courses, or you didn't study enough, or you didn't pay enough attention to something or someone, you are exactly where you need to be so that you can serve your ideal client. So starting from where you are the absolute best at what you do for that particular person, and take action for it. And if you do need mentorship, if you do need something, join a free membership group, join something where you are being held accountable, because this is the next point that I wanted to make today, is that when you do have monthly recurring revenue, it
Mm,
holds you
yes.
accountable rather than taking all the money up front. And it's like, yeah, I got my money. I don't have to. I don't feel like it. I don't have time. Something got in the way. No, no, no. You can't use that. When you have that monthly recurring revenue, your responsibility is to show up on a recurring basis so that the people don't want to leave your group. And it holds them accountable, because very often when people pay a large sum of money, they're like, you know what, that's a wash, I learned my lesson. But if they're paying on a recurring basis, they're seeing that money as a reminder come out of their
It's like a
account
decision you have to make
every
every month.
single month,
Yeah.
and they have to show up. So recurring revenue holds both parties accountable, and it pushes both parties to do something with the information and the service. So, and obviously, like James said, pays some bills, and some bills get paid, right? They
Yeah.
just do. They
Yeah.
just get paid, and you're like, oh, I didn't have to worry about that bill. And it urges you to do better. And yeah, I get on a tangent here, but I'm very passionate about recurring revenue.
Yeah, and certainty. Like you were saying, how you know that you're the best. I walk into a conversation knowing that I'm the best. It didn't used to always be that way, and it's important. Like when you another thing we learned from Tony, it's like before you go on a sales call, before you engage with a customer, you should just jump up and down, do some jumping jacks, do some push-ups, do some sprints, do some lunges, do some something to get your heart rate elevated, to get some energy in your body so that you can show up and be like, you are the most important thing to me right now. Nothing else matters. Whatever you got, I got you. Let's fucking go. When you have that mentality and when you have that ability to step up, like you give yourself your own certainty. And then any kind of doubts and fears and things that would keep you from taking action or keep you from serving, just go out the window. So it's in in winter, providing your own certainty, knowing you have the ability to, and then actually choosing to do it, are just really powerful moves.
Yeah. So we're curious, as we're wrapping this one up, we just want to put it in a beautiful package here. You know, winter is here. We
It's
may,
been here. It's going to be
it's
here
been
for a
here.
while.
We may or may not be two-thirds of the way there, or I don't know, halfway, whatever we are, but we are here. We're in winter. There is a common thread out there that people just haven't been spending and in investing in this type of education, and that may be true. And we have been stable. We haven't noticed it so much, but we did want to create this episode because we have heard that people have noticed it. So if you're one of those people who hasn't been spending or has noticed a decline in recurring revenue or has been afraid to offer a recurring revenue because people may not be spending, because you've heard the same thing, uh, uh, we're here to assure you that it is possible. You can start today, but the first thing that you absolutely need is certainty that
Mhm.
you are the best at what you do for your ideal client. And when you lead with that certainty, that turns into faith. And when you have faith, you can do anything. I mean, faith allows you to make all kinds of decisions. It allows you to jump on a plane. It allows you to hit the road. It allows you to fall in love. It allows you to do all kinds of things. That's what faith does.
Yeah.
So we encourage you to develop that certainty within you, which will lead to having faith. And we look forward to hearing from you, and hopefully, possibly in the future, serving you in some sort of capacity.
Let's go.
All right.
Peace.